The air inside the Thorne Estate boardroom was colder than the glass of water trembling in Jasper's grip. Seated at the head of a polished obsidian table, Jasper Thorne exhaled sharply, his jaw clenched as 7 men in dark suits watched him like vultures circling a wounded lion. At 37, Jasper had built Thorne Corp into a tech empire, ruthless in boardrooms, charismatic in interviews, and charmingly untouchable in public. But to his family, one thing mattered more than all his Fortune 500 appearances combined: legacy, a male heir. His uncle, Charles Thorne, tapped the mahogany table. "You've been married 8 years, Jasper. No son, no succession. We can't entrust a multi-billion-dollar legacy to a potential divorce settlement." The word stung more than Jasper let on. "We've tried," Jasper replied, keeping his voice neutral. "IVF, fertility specialists. Auriella's had complications." "You married for optics," another board member said. "But this isn't politics. This is bloodline." Jasper's knuckles whitened. Charles leaned forward. "If there's no male heir by the end of the year, we'll motion to replace you as CEO. The bylaws are clear." Jasper didn't flinch. Not until they left. Inside his Bentley, Jasper stared at a single name glowing on his phone screen: Dr. Rowan Vicks. Auriella Thorne sat in her sun-drenched art studio, dabbing violet onto a canvas. Her hand trembled slightly, and she paused. Another morning of painting silence into something beautiful. Behind her, the door creaked open. "Morning, love," Jasper said, his voice almost casual. She turned, smiling softly. "You're home early." He kissed her forehead. Meeting got cut short. In her eyes was a tenderness Jasper once found captivating. Now, it felt like a faded photograph, something lovely but distant. As they had breakfast, silence grew thicker. Auriella broke it. "Dr. Vicks called. He wants to try another round." Jasper's spoon clinked against his mug. "I think we've done enough rounds." Her smile faltered. "This one feels different." Jasper hesitated. "Maybe it's time we accept that some things aren't meant to be." "Easy for you to say," she whispered. "You're not the one who keeps losing a child before hearing it heartbeat." Silence again. Then she whispered, "I saw a stroller yesterday. Blue. I thought maybe we could try once more." Jasper didn't respond. He was staring at the sunlight through the blinds like he couldn't wait to escape it. Tessa Dane entered the Thorne mansion like a spark thrown into dry hay. She wore a red leather jacket over a low-cut black dress, eyes lined dark, lips painted wine. She tossed her sunglasses on the marble console with a smirk. "I see the ice castle hasn't melted," she announced. Auriella, standing at the top of the stairs, froze. "Tessa." Her voice cracked. Jasper looked up from his tablet. The resemblance was striking. Tessa was a mirror of Auriella, except sharper, louder, and reckless. "What the hell are you doing here?" Auriella descended the stairs like a storm brewing. "Calm down, sis. I was in town. Figured I'd drop in on my favorite rich relative." "You weren't invited." "Didn't need an invite. Mom's dead. You're the only family I got." Jasper watched them both. The tension, the history, the matching eyes that didn't match hearts. Auriella's voice lowered. "You were gone for 5 years." Tessa shrugged. "You married a billionaire. I chased paintings in Paris. Not everyone wanted the family circus." "You left because you stole from Dad," Auriella said coldly. Tessa's eyes flared. "He owed me, and he hit me, remember?" Jasper shifted in his seat. "I'm staying at the Garden Hotel," Tessa said, snatching a glass of champagne from the side table. "Just thought I'd say hi. I'll be at your charity gala tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll dress appropriately." As she walked away, Jasper couldn't stop watching her. She looked like Auriella, but with fire in her veins. The air inside the Thorne Estate boardroom was colder than the glass of water trembling in Jasper's grip. Seated at the head of a polished obsidian table, Jasper Thorne exhaled sharply, his jaw clenched as 7 men in dark suits watched him like vultures circling a wounded lion. At 37, Jasper had built Thorne Corp into a tech empire, ruthless in boardrooms, charismatic in interviews, and charmingly untouchable in public. But to his family, one thing mattered more than all his Fortune 500 appearances combined: legacy, a male heir. His uncle, Charles Thorne, tapped the mahogany table. "You've been married 8 years, Jasper. No son, no succession. We can't entrust a multi-billion-dollar legacy to a potential divorce settlement." The word stung more than Jasper let on. "We've tried," Jasper replied, keeping his voice neutral. "IVF, fertility specialists. Oriella's had complications." "You married for optics," another board member said. "But this isn't politics. This is bloodline." Jasper's knuckles whitened. Charles leaned forward. "If there's no male heir by the end of the year, we'll motion to replace you as CEO. The bylaws are clear." Jasper didn't flinch. Not until they left. Inside his Bentley, Jasper stared at a single name glowing on his phone screen: Dr. Rowan Vicks. Oriella Thorne sat in her sun-drenched art studio, dabbing violet onto a canvas. Her hand trembled slightly, and she paused. Another morning of painting silence into something beautiful. Behind her, the door creaked open. "Morning, love," Jasper said, his voice almost casual. She turned, smiling softly. "You're home early." He kissed her forehead. Meeting got cut short. In her eyes was a tenderness Jasper once found captivating. Now, it felt like a faded photograph, something lovely but distant. As they had breakfast, silence grew thicker. Oriella broke it. "Dr. Vicks called. He wants to try another round." Jasper's spoon clinked against his mug. "I think we've done enough rounds." Her smile faltered. "This one feels different." Jasper hesitated. "Maybe it's time we accept that some things aren't meant to be." "Easy for you to say," she whispered. "You're not the one who keeps losing a child before hearing it heartbeat." Silence again. Then she whispered, "I saw a stroller yesterday. Blue. I thought maybe we could try once more." Jasper didn't respond. He was staring at the sunlight through the blinds like he couldn't wait to escape it. Tessa Dane entered the Thorne mansion like a spark thrown into dry hay. She wore a red leather jacket over a low-cut black dress, eyes lined dark, lips painted wine. She tossed her sunglasses on the marble console with a smirk. "I see the ice castle hasn't melted," she announced. Oriella, standing at the top of the stairs, froze. "Tessa." Her voice cracked. Jasper looked up from his tablet. The resemblance was striking. Tessa was a mirror of Oriella, except sharper, louder, and reckless. "What the hell are you doing here?" Oriella descended the stairs like a storm brewing. "Calm down, sis. I was in town. Figured I'd drop in on my favorite rich relative." "You weren't invited." "Didn't need an invite. Mom's dead. You're the only family I got." Jasper watched them both. The tension, the history, the matching eyes that didn't match hearts. Oriella's voice lowered. "You were gone for 5 years." Tessa shrugged. "You married a billionaire. I chased paintings in Paris. Not everyone wanted the family circus." "You left because you stole from Dad," Oriella said coldly. Tessa's eyes flared. "He owed me, and he hit me, remember?" Jasper shifted in his seat. "I'm staying at the Garden Hotel," Tessa said, snatching a glass of champagne from the side table. "Just thought I'd say hi. I'll be at your charity gala tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll dress appropriately." As she walked away, Jasper couldn't stop watching her. She looked like Oriella, but with fire in her veins. The next night, the gala shimmered like gold. Powerful people sipped cocktails. Photographers clicked. Tessa appeared in a backless silver gown that silenced the room. Jasper found her alone on the balcony, smoking. The city lights glowed behind her. "You know," she said, exhaling, "you clean up nice for a man with dead eyes." Jasper smirked. "Your trouble?" "I've always been." He stepped closer. "You ever think of settling down?" She scoffed. "With who?" "One of those old money creeps in there." "What if someone offered you a life of luxury, total freedom, and a legacy?" Tessa turned slowly. "You mean you?" "Not the way you think." His voice lowered. "I need a son. Oriella can't give me one. I'm running out of time. And you have the genetics, the resemblance. Her jaw dropped. You want me to get pregnant for you? He nodded. Discreetly. IVF. No strings. I'll fund your gallery, your travel, your life. Full anonymity. That's insane, she said, yet didn't step away. Jasper's eyes locked onto hers. You said your father never gave you a legacy. I'm offering you one. Tessa flicked her cigarette away, heart thudding. You're cold as hell. He replied, I'm desperate. Silence. Then she whispered, Give me a week. Tessa didn't wait a week. She showed up 3 days later at Jasper's penthouse office wearing a trench coat and red heels. It wasn't just about the money. It was about power and revenge. I'll do it, she said. No IVF. No syringes. Let's keep it old school. Jasper raised an eyebrow. You sure? You want a real heir, right? You trust your blood more than science. Let's not fake it. He pulled her inside and locked the door. That night, the betrayal was written between tangled sheets and whispered names. And in Jasper's eyes was something dangerously close to satisfaction. 2 weeks later, Tessa walked into a pharmacy in Brooklyn with sunglasses on and left with a pregnancy test hidden in her purse. At home, she locked the bathroom door. 10 minutes later, 2 pink lines stared back. She didn't cry. She didn't smile. She stared into the mirror and whispered, Game on. Meanwhile, Oriella found Jasper in the study later that evening. You've been distracted, she said, gently touching his arm. Work, he replied. You used to let me into that world. He kissed her forehead like a stranger. It's safer for you outside it. As she walked away, he turned back to his phone. One unread message from Tessa. It's done. I'm pregnant. He deleted the message and poured himself a glass of whiskey, unaware that in the hallway, the maid, Marina, had seen his phone light up. She narrowed her eyes and walked away silently. Too many secrets lived in this house, and she had watched this one long enough. The grand piano in the Thorne mansion hadn't been played in weeks. Oriella sat beside it now, tapping its keys absent-mindedly, her fingers still when Jasper's voice echoed down the hall. I'll handle it. Just keep it quiet. She pressed her back to the wall. Yeah, he said. She's pregnant. Due around New Year. No one finds out. Not even Oriella. A pause. Then footsteps. Oriella stepped out as Jasper entered the hallway, pretending to be startled. You scared me, she said with a smile. He raised a brow. Still up? She nodded. Couldn't sleep. They stood for a beat, the air filled with tension neither could name. Want tea? She asked. He shook his head and kissed her cheek. Long day. Going to bed. But as he left, Oriella's smile faded. Something was wrong. Her husband had secrets. That night, she called someone she never thought she'd speak to again. Tessa, she whispered over the phone. There was silence. I think something's going on with Jasper. I don't know who else to ask. Tessa's voice was stiff. I'm not sure I'm the best person. Please. Tessa hesitated, then agreed. The next morning, Marina entered Jasper's private study to dust, something she'd done for 7 years without question. But today, something caught her eye, a receipt tucked beneath his desk lamp. The Women's Health Center, ultrasound imaging patient, T. Dane. Her hand trembled as she placed it back. That night, Marina knocked softly on Oriella's door. She whispered, May I speak freely? Oriella sat upright. Of course, Marina. There's something going on. I shouldn't say this, but I found a medical receipt for your sister from a pregnancy clinic. Oriella's heart nearly stopped. Tessa. Yes. I didn't mean to snoop. You didn't. Her voice was ice. Rain slammed the windows like drums of war. Oriella drove in silence to the address Marina provided, a private luxury apartment downtown. She hadn't been there in years, since before the wedding. Tessa opened the door in silk pajamas, eyes wide. Oriella, are you pregnant? Oriella's voice cracked like glass. Tessa swallowed. Come in. I didn't ask for tea. Are you pregnant? Yes, she said slowly. But Is it Jasper's? Silence. Tessa looked away. It's complicated. Ariella stepped back like she'd been struck. You slept with my husband. You. Tessa grabbed her wrist. He came to me, said you couldn't give him an A, offered to fund my dream gallery. It was just a deal. A deal? Ariella yanked her hand back. You are my sister. You were his wife, his brand. I was the body he wanted a baby from. You were supposed to be family, Ariella whispered, her voice trembling. Tessa looked away. So were you, but you left me behind long before Jasper ever touched me. Ariella's eyes flooded with tears. I was going to tell you, Tessa added. No, Ariella snapped. You were going to raise my husband's child behind my back. Ariella left the apartment sobbing, mascara streaking down her face like war paint. A week later, the tabloid headline hit every newsstand and screen. Tech tycoon Jasper Thorne allegedly impregnates wife's sister. Scandal rocks Thorne legacy. Jasper stormed into his office, flinging his phone at the wall. Mara, his executive assistant, entered cautiously. Find out who leaked it, he snapped. I already know, she said quietly. It was Ariella. She gave the story to the Whisperer. Exclusively. Jasper froze. She's filed for separation, Mara added. Your accounts are being audited, and the board has called an emergency vote. He sat down hard. Sir, Mara whispered, you underestimated your wife. He looked at her, face pale. I underestimated both of them. Ariella stood in the boardroom in a crimson suit, chin high. Across from her, Jasper looked like a man trying to remember how he lost everything. Charles Thorne cleared his throat. This affair has compromised your judgment, Jasper. You risk scandal, inheritance fraud, and board trust. Jasper stood. I made one mistake. Ariella laughed bitterly. No, you made two. Sleeping with my sister and thinking I'd stay silent. Murmurs. She turned to the board. I hold 17% of Thorne Corp shares through marital agreement. I'm invoking Clause 12, breach of spousal contract with reputational damage. The lawyers nodded. Charles rubbed his temples. Effective immediately, Jasper Thorne is suspended pending final vote. Jasper growled. You're nothing without me, Ariella. She walked past him. Correction. I was everything without you. You were just my accessory. Outside the room, paparazzi flashed their cameras. Tessa watched from a parked car, tears in her eyes. Inside her purse was a DNA report. She whispered, and now for the truth. 3 days after the story broke, the Thorne name trended across every social platform. #Thorne Affair. #Jasper and Tessa. #Ariella deserves better. News anchors didn't mince words. In a shocking twist, billionaire Jasper Thorne is facing public backlash after reports allege he secretly impregnated his wife's sister. Outside Thorne Corp headquarters, a swarm of reporters screamed questions. Inside, Jasper's boardroom felt like a funeral. Do something. Jasper snapped at his PR chief. There's no spinning this, the woman replied. You cheated on your wife with her sister and tried to cover it up. This isn't just messy, it's diabolical. The CFO dropped a file in front of him. We've lost 4 sponsorship deals, our tech partners in Berlin are withdrawing, and 2 board members are resigning. Jasper slammed the table. Fix it, he growled, but when he stormed out of the meeting, flashes blinded him. Reporters surged forward. Mr. Thorne, is it true the child is your heir? Is your wife divorcing you for good? Did you pay Tessa Dane to carry your baby? He didn't answer. He couldn't. He was drowning. 3 days later, an emergency vote was held. Jasper arrived at the Thorne Corp boardroom, pressed in a suit, eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights. Waiting across the room was Charles Thorne, Ariella, and a few silent shareholders. Before we proceed, Charles began, we'd like to hear any final defense. Jasper stood. You all know what I built, he said, pacing. I took this company global. I multiplied your shares tenfold. Yes, I made a personal mistake, one that's been magnified by public curiosity, but it doesn't erase what I've achieved. He turned to Ariella. And I did love my wife. Ariella didn't blink. You love control. Not me. Jasper swallowed hard. I won't grovel for something that doesn't affect the company's core. Charles interrupted. It affects everything when your face is our brand. The vote began. One by one, hands rose, until 8 out of 12 board members sided against Jasper. Effective immediately, he was suspended as CEO. As he stood frozen, Charles added coldly, and if that child isn't your son, you'll be out permanently. Jasper's eyes narrowed. What do you mean if? Charles smirked. Word is, your mistress took a second route. Tessa watched the boardroom live stream from her penthouse. The moment Jasper's suspension was announced, she leaned back, one hand on her stomach. She hadn't told him yet. Hadn't told anyone. Because the truth would hurt more when delivered at the perfect time. She opened her drawer and pulled out the DNA report, sealed in a red envelope. A soft knock sounded at her door. It was Ariella. What are you doing here? Tessa asked. Ariella stepped in, cold but calm. I heard you're about to give an interview. Tessa smirked, thinking about it. You've had your revenge. But what comes next, Tessa? You think Jasper will love you. Tessa's expression faltered. I'm not doing this for him. You're doing it to ruin me. Maybe. Or maybe I just wanted to feel powerful for once. Ariella took a slow breath. I don't care if the baby's his. I care about what kind of mother you're going to be. Tessa hesitated. Ariella stepped closer. Don't let him use you. Don't let him claim a child that's not his just to restore his empire. Then Ariella left, leaving Tessa shaken. Tessa sat down slowly. She looked at the envelope and whispered, It's time. A week later, Tessa arrived at the Whisper TV studio for an exclusive sit-down. Lights, cameras, red dress, perfect hair. The interviewer, a slick woman named Nyla, smiled wide. Tessa, thank you for being here. My pleasure, Tessa replied coolly. So tell us, are you carrying Jasper Thorne's baby? Tessa smiled faintly. Let's just say, I was approached with an offer, one that promised money, power, and silence. But is the baby his? Tessa reached into her bag, pulled out the envelope, and handed it to Nyla. Live on camera, Nyla opened the DNA test. Her eyebrows shot up. This is saying Jasper Thorne is not the father. Twitter exploded in real time. Tessa leaned forward. Jasper wanted a legacy, but I wanted freedom. So I made a choice to use a donor. He doesn't know. Until now. Breaking. Tessa Dane reveals billionaire Jasper Thorne is not the father of her unborn child. Nyla whispered, Why now? Tessa looked straight into the camera. Because I'm tired of being used. And because some men don't deserve legacies. Jasper watched the broadcast from his private lounge. As Nyla read the DNA results, his entire face drained of color. No, 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 he whispered. Mara, standing in the corner, slowly approached. You knew there was a risk, she said softly. She said it was mine. Jasper shouted. He paced like a caged lion, rage boiling. I built a future on this. I banked my empire on this. And now, Mara replied, the empire is turning to dust. He collapsed into a leather chair. You don't understand. This child was supposed to secure everything. If it's not mine. You're done, Mara finished. Suddenly, Jasper looked up. Get me Tessa. She's not taking your calls. Then get me Ariella. Mara raised an eyebrow. After everything. I need her, he whispered. Too late for that, Mara said, turning toward the door. You burned both sisters for a throne built on lies. Now all you've got left is smoke. Jasper sat alone, head in his hands, as the city outside roared with the sound of his downfall. The private elevator chimed softly as Dr. Rowan Vick stepped into the dimly lit Thorne Corp executive floor. He was calm, too calm. Jasper hadn't seen him in months. Rowan. Jasper barked, storming forward. What the hell happened? Dr. Vick sighed. You told me to arrange IVF with Tessa. You said she agreed. She did agree. No, Rowan said coldly. She agreed to lie. She never showed up for the IVF appointment. Jasper blinked. You're lying. No, you're desperate. And she knew it. Rowan placed a copy of the IVF rejection letter on the desk. She used a private donor. I warned you she wasn't consistent. But you didn't care. You wanted a son so badly, you ignored every medical protocol we had in place. Jasper's voice lowered dangerously. Why are you telling me this now? Because I refuse to be part of your fantasy anymore. Rowan paused, then added, Oh, and she told me something else. She recorded your original proposal. You offered her money in exchange for pregnancy. That's coercion, if she leaks it. He left the rest unsaid. Jasper grabbed the edge of the desk. His kingdom wasn't crumbling anymore. It was burning. At the Vostane Legal Summit, Oriella strode through glass doors in a stunning white pantsuit, now partnered with a team of high-powered attorneys, her own firm. Tessa sat at a long boardroom table, watching quietly. Beside her was Marina, now working as Oriella's personal assistant. Everything's ready, Oriella asked. Everything, Tessa confirmed. They turned to their legal team. Oriella leaned in. Today, we reclaim our names. No more shame. No more power games. She walked into the next room, where Jasper and his legal counsel waited. He looked thinner, sunken, hollow, but still defiant. You look well, Jasper said dryly. Oriella sat down. Freedom suits me. Let's cut to it. What do you want? She smiled. Full divorce. Complete asset audit. 20% of your shares. And public acknowledgement that you lied about the child being yours. Jasper scoffed. That's insane. She slid a document forward, the signed prenup, with a clause about reputational damages nullifying all financial protections. And if I don't, he asked. We go public with the audio of you coercing my sister, Oriella said, ice in her voice. He blinked. You don't have that. She simply tapped her watch. A recording played faintly. You want money? Give me a child. No strings. I'll take care of everything. Just keep your mouth shut. Silence. Jasper sank back. Your move, Oriella whispered. 2 weeks later, Jasper's resignation shook the business world. Breaking, Jasper Thorne officially removed from all Thorncorp holdings following scandal fallout. His mansion went up for sale. His personal accounts were frozen pending investigation. He moved into a penthouse hotel, still luxurious, but stripped of servants, privacy, and power. Tessa visited him one final time. I came to tell you. I'm naming the baby Micah, and he'll never know your name. He looked up at her. Hollow, you used me. You tried to own me, she snapped. I chose freedom. She turned to leave. Wait, he called. She looked back. I did love you, in a way, he said, voice cracking. Then you should have protected me, not paid me like a problem. She left without another word. That night, Jasper sat in darkness, watching the old campaigner that featured him and Oriella. He reached out to the screen, but her image faded into static. He closed his laptop and cried for the first time in 20 years. Oriella stood in her garden at dusk, the scent of blooming roses all around. Tessa approached, belly rounding, eyes softer. You look good, Oriella said. Tessa shrugged. I still don't forgive myself. Oriella turned to her. Then forgive yourself for me. Tessa's eyes welled up. I didn't expect that. We both made mistakes, Oriella said. But this child isn't one of them. Tessa smiled through her tears. They sat together on the bench. He kicks a lot, Tessa said. Oriella laughed. He's got your fire. Think he'll ask one day where his father is. Oriella nodded. And you'll tell him he didn't need a throne. He had a queen for a mother. Tessa reached for her sister's hand. And for the first time in years, they sat without bitterness, just two women healing beside the wreckage of a man who tried to control them both. The courthouse steps were flooded with press. Oriella stepped out, sleek in navy, followed by her lawyer. Behind her, Jasper stumbled forward, a shadow of his former self. Oriella, he called. She turned slowly. I want to see him. The baby. Please. She raised a brow. He's not yours, Jasper. I know, but I... She cut him off. This isn't about you anymore. The reporters leaned in, cameras flashing. I lost everything, he whispered. She smiled, genuinely. No, Jasper, you threw it away. Then she turned to the camera. To every woman watching this, never let a man define your worth. We rise not from their validation, but from our own strength. The crowd erupted in applause. Jasper stood there, alone. Oriella walked down the steps, flanked by her new firm, power in every stride. As she stepped into her black car, Tessa called her. Ready for lunch? Absolutely. The door closed. The car rolled away, and Jasper Thorne stood at the courthouse steps, blinking against the sunlight, a man finally reduced to what he truly was. Nothing without the women he tried to conquer.